Kostas Creating Sustainability, day 8. I've got a small machine, he's digging the holes. We've got the good soil that we piled up from day 2 or so over here and around the place, so we're actually filling those holes with good soil. I've mounted the dirt up in the hole, so by the time I actually rake the correct shape on the swale mound and on the outside, so it's no longer the angle of repose, so that way you don't have a large catchment and then large runoff. But look, behind the bales of hay I've got, and that dirt mound, that little section there is my first overflow, because I want a eucalyptus forest and I want it close together, so when all the trees are competing for light they grow straight and true rather than all over the place. And then in 7 years I'll harvest them. This, from this line through, is my second overflow. So I've got these down the swale. On the wide points, just to make sure that I've got enough overflow. I've also added some pipes today. I've got 2 of them, one here and one to the right of the laser machine. You tramp them in, make sure that the soil is a little bit moist that you're using, and you tramp it in with the back of your handle. Make sure the soil around the pipes is very compressed, and then fill it up to level. That way we can adjust the height of the flow in the swale, and if we're getting too much water we pull the end corner piece off, and at 50 centimeters it starts to pour out. At 60 I've got my overflows, so it's a safety precaution built in. This down here has been dug out on contour. There's another little trench as small as swales. I want to use the overflow to feed it. I want to soak the water in there and make a smaller swale, not this mother of a swale that I've got here. It's a monster, but it's a monster because I had stone walls. Let me show you. These. And the stone walls and the contour lines didn't hold true from that point through to that tree, the furthest tree. So I've dug a flat road with a big machine, and then I built the swale off from there. Normally I wouldn't do so. You can choose to dig it by hand, get 5-10 people and do that, but I'm on like day 8 and I've done the bottom section, which is a pond, roadway, access up the top, 15 plus another 8 eucalyptus trees all dug up there. You know, you can take a year to do that with manual labour, or you can pay. I just chose to pay. Anyway, this is it. It's beautiful. Now I'm going to round the edges off, put the hay on, plant the seed, and hope the first rain isn't a big one. Okay, Kostas Creating Sustainability, day 9. Last day of all the machinery. This is about actually stopping erosion today. It's going to be to level the ground, get ready to plant seed, and make sure the water paths are correct. The gabions are basically designed to slow the water flow, and then the water backflows, so any of the silt and mud and that gets behind it will fill up this area, and this will be quite a fertile area, but also slow down, passively flow the water through the whole thing rather than going runaway. So the water all is channeled into this section, through here, and then down this road. And I'm concerned that the volume of water might be quite high because it's unpredictable now, rainfall. So I'm actually getting little speed humps made of stone put in. So I'm having these put across. The top one channels water into that, which goes through the wall, and then that water passively goes through all the grass here. The second one is there over this wall, and the third one will be down here. And so all the water that comes down here is now going to come into the swale. Any excess water can run down the bottom and then back into the swale. From above the bottom, going across, this is the swale line and the tree. This ground is what I started with. All the land is like this. Lots of stone, lots of walls, and lots of pioneers trying to survive. What I'm doing here is putting in a garden. Just something small where I can put in some springtime and summer plants while I'm developing this area. This is good soil from down the bottom in the valley, and I've got plenty of water to water it. So I'm adding to the soil wood chips, which is going to then decompose and create a lot of fungus, so mycelium, like a forest grows on a fallen forest. So the reason for this is to simulate the fallen forest, and really I should leave it on the top, and that's what I'm going to do with the straw, but I figure there's not a lot percentage wise, so I'll just mix it in. It's got a place to put my garden, feed myself a little bit, and I'm fast tracking the soil biology a little bit as well. I've asked Jimmy to cut in little channels. They're the only thing on this whole property that's not on contour. A little embarrassed about that, but that's cool, something to grow in. You might have gathered them in the pond. And we're smoothing out and hardening, compacting the mound. Once it's all done, we're finished. No more machines. Machines are done with, all hand from here. Anyway, swale edge is looking beautiful. I got holes for trees. It's just gorgeous. Fully complete. What I'm going to do now is just smooth out everything else with the rake, and then throw a lot of seed around. We've got rain coming in 3 days' time. Timing is absolutely perfect. I should get, well, I got the soil in the holes. I probably won't get any trees planted, but I'll certainly have a lot of seed put down. I'll show you that tomorrow. And throw the seed down. 2 days of rain, maybe 3 days of rain. Hopefully that will grow. And we're ready to plant after that. Put some trees in. I told him to make it like glass. It's fantastic how not being able to speak the language of the local country. Like I'm Greek heritage. I mean, I call myself Australian Greek, but not being able to speak Greek very well at all. And I have to describe the bottom like putting it like glass instead of smooth, because I don't know the word for smooth. We still get by. Communication still works. Hand languages, lots of yelling and whistling and stuff, but it happens. It's all happening. Don't be afraid of trying it in another country where you can't communicate. You'll find a way. Rounding off the edges of the pond, putting seed down, raking it in, and then putting straw mulch down. And it also partly buries the seed. Somewhere else. Kostas Creating Sustainability, day 11. Well, all the earthworks is done. So the top road, the top paddock, the roadway coming down that channels the water from the top road right through down to the bottom into the swale, which is this right around the hillside. One little pond down in there, the big pond down in there, done. Stage 2 is now any exposed dirt that's left, especially a large surface area like the roads, for example this road up here, etc., coming up, needs to be covered. So the process that I'm using is I will scrape it all with a rake. Then I'll create these little gabions as I go with the rock that I find. So this rock creates these lines, and I'm using these lines all the way up to channel them into, like let's follow this one through, channels the water down there, in along here and into this ditch. These guys here channel the water into here, and this is where I'm going to be planting 15 or 20 eucalyptus trees. So in a really small space I can underarm throw a rock across there. I'm going to have 20 eucalyptus and another 10 or so up the top. So I'm going to create a forest of eucalyptus in a very tiny space. Creates a windbreak because the wind blows right along my swale. So gabions in here to hold the road flow back, because the road is a large surface area and you don't want water running down it because it'll just chew away all the dirt that's there. The point is that it rains in winter and it's dry in summer. So we've got our first rainfall coming tomorrow. So get it down, get the hay on it, keep the moisture in the ground, throw the seed down, start it germinating. And if it doesn't rain for a long period of time, once that seed starts, I have to water until the rains come. That stitches the ground up, that holds the water back, that stops erosion. That's it. And I didn't mention it, but all the seeds are pea and bean family legume nitrogen fixing seed. So they're ground covers, they stitch up the soil, stop your erosion, put nitrogen in the ground, and put a green carpet over the whole area. So I've got no intention of driving up here until I'm harvesting my trees up the top. Well, we didn't quite get the road done. And the rains are here. Day 12, shaping up the swale. Shape the swale up. Then I'll throw seed down, cover that with straw, hose it down. Get that all started before the next rain, which is in about 10 days' time. You've got to give it a really nice curve. So you can see just down the bottom there how it's done. That's the good shape. Exciting moment. Day 12, first tree in. Day 13, I'm using the desert technique where we actually dig a well, put the trees just a little bit lower than what they'd normally go and have high sides so we can fill that up with water, covering all that with straw, just so we can keep the moisture in the ground. But this is your progressive steps. We've got the rough ground just starting to show signs of weeds coming up. It's a good thing. Need them to stitch up the ground like weeds are nature's healing plant. So it's there. Germinating conditions were put there so that weed can actually heal the damage that we've done. So then after that we rake the ground. Then after that we seed the ground. And then we cover it in hay.